what CSA means. We know it's a community-supported agriculture, but what does it really mean? Fresh food and unity, relationship with the farmer, some commitment for what that relationship looks like. Intimate. Not everybody agrees to that, but it's okay. You know, look for that on the form. If it says intimate relationship, then you know that's your farm. Thank you. Okay, so tonight is going to be loads of fun, and it's even more fun when you all engage with me, because I get really sad when I don't think you guys are paying attention. So, not that you need to worry about my sadness, I'm just saying it's going to be a funner time if you do. So first up is Harry. And he's right over there. So I started asking people questions before, and some of my questions were like, if you could give me what your winter was like in 2 words, what would those 2 words be? And his winter 2 words were just kidding. So maybe he'll tell us what that means.
Thank you. Thanks, Kim. She's so good at this introduction thing. So, I was just kidding with goats, and their little babies are kids. So I really struggled with, going around all this week. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Y'all know this. We've been up on stage before. And one of our helpers, Story, said to me, just tell a story. And I was like, well, I'm supposed to. So I'm going to cheat a little bit here. We'll start with a poem that I memorized a long time ago. This is a meditation poem. And it's real quick, and it goes something like this. It's by a Rilke poem. You have to close your eyes and get into the space. It's possible I'm pushing through solid rock. In flint-like layers, the ore lies alone. I'm such a long way in, I see no way through, and no space. Everything is close to my face, and everything close to my face is stone. You be the master. Make yourself yours. Break through. Then your great transformation will happen to me, and my grief cry will happen to you. Thank you. And so I'm going to tell a little story, and it's a bit of a grief cry because it's a story about the first time that I ever had lambs. And we've been lambing for 22 years. And we've had lots of lambs, probably somewhere upwards of close to 10,000 lambs in that time period. So I've gotten relatively adequate, mediocrely adequate at doing this type of thing. And this was like the story of my first failure, and it's a little sad, but you need to know that anytime you do something new like this, you're going to fall down a few times before you can walk. So my wife and I were going for a walk one day, and we walked past these rose bushes on this farm, and it called to us. And, later on, not too long after that, the farm came up for sale, and it was like about 50 acres that we ended up buying. And it called to us kind of like the symbol of gold on the periodic chart. Hey, you! Sorry, I stole that from Colbert. So it called to us, and we ended up buying it. And I had a friend that raised 4-H lambs, and they raise these little baby lambs for the kids in the 4-H program at school. And she had these 10 old, cold female ewe sheep that all had problems with them, and she offered to give them to me. So I'm like, don't overdo this. I mean, don't ever do that, people. But I said yes, because I can't say no. Okay. And so I ended up with these 10 old ewes that all had problems with them. And then they got us a ram. His name was Studley. And Studley came and showed us how, how nature works, okay? And about 5 months later, wow, we got some pregnant sheep. These guys are big. So the first one up, her name happened to be Fatty. She was a Southdown ewe, and she was really huge. And about 2 weeks before she actually went into lambing, she couldn't stand up. So I got the vet out, and he diagnosed her as having ketosis, which is when the mom is metabolizing so much fat to feed the babies in her system that she goes into a somewhat of a ketotic state. It's like being drunk, okay? Now, for all you here that want to try this, okay, you have to gain a lot of weight first, okay? And then you have to have lots of babies. In this case, it was 4, okay? So she had quadruplets inside her, and they were metabolizing so much, fat that she got drunk and fell down and couldn't stand up. So it's a strange thing, but the remedy, the conventional remedy for this is propylene glycol, which, unlike ethylene glycol, doesn't kill you. But it is like a high sugar, high carbohydrate, and get your blood sugar back up. So he came out, showed me how to administer this propylene glycol, and sure enough, Fatty got through that and stood up, and we made it through the next 2 weeks. And all of a sudden, it's like, it's time, she's passing the birthing fluids, and I didn't know what I'm doing, but it was an afternoon, and I was by myself in the barn, and okay, now what do I do? So I called my friend Marcia, and this is when cell phones just were first out, folks, and she's like, well, give it about a half an hour, and the lamb should start coming out. Well, I gave it about a half an hour, and then it's an hour, and then, okay, I called Marcia back. It's still not happening. Well, you gotta go in there. You gotta go in there, and you gotta pull them babies out. Okay? I was raised in the suburbs of New Jersey. I never did nothing like that, and I didn't know what I was getting into. I had a dog. Happened to be male. So, okay, I got a cell phone in my left hand and my right hand's going in there, and I don't know what I'm doing, but Marcia was going to lead me through this thing, and then the battery went on my cell phone. Well, I went in there, and I kind of, tried to untangle 4 lambs inside to no avail, didn't know what I was doing, so I ran out, got to a landline phone, and called the vet, got the vet out. He helped me extract the 4 lambs. By that time, they were, past due and did not make it. And that was my 0 for 4 lambing experience, first go-round. So those 10 coals ended up giving birth to 23 lambs, of which we ended up having 12 survive, which isn't really a very good record first go-round, but considering they were, not prime material, it's about what happened. So having good lambs and a successful sheep operation requires good genetics, good food, good stewardship and herdsmanship, and some good fortune and some good weather. So we've all had a little bit of that, and some bad misfortune and bad weather, and you got to get used to death. That's the sad thing about having animals, is they do die on you. But
awesome.
At any rate, that's my little first time go around. So don't be afraid of failing, folks, because here I am 22 years later, and I've failed quite a bit. So I went way too long. That was 5 minutes. So that's 5 minutes.